I guess what you're saying is that the rich companies that have enough money to do this would remain in the EU, and the other ones would simply just not target the European Union people, right?
Yeah, it's additional work. It's like a lot of additional work.
What I think will happen, Felix, I actually think that the TAM of Europe will go down because people won't target or do UA in European Union because they're not willing to do the extra work, or they want to limit it. So all that happens is budgets increase in the US, Turkey, China, etc., and it's us in the EU that basically just lose.
It's 4 a.m. and we're rolling the dice. Mate drops knowledge made of golden eyes. Felix with ads making those coins rise. Jack up designs, worlds chasing the sky. We're the 2.5 gamers, the midnight crew. Talking UA adverts and game design too. Mate, Felix, Shaka bringing the insight. We're rocking those vibes till the early daylight. Mate, UA, master eyes on the prize. Tracking data through the cyberspace skies. Felix stacks dollars like a wizard in disguise. Jacob's crafted realms lift us to the highs. 2.5 gamers talking smack. Slow hockey stick, got your back. Ads are beautiful, they light the way. Click it fast, don't delay.
Three, two, one. Hello, everyone, and welcome to an emergency podcast of the 2.5 Gamers podcast. Today, like we said, it's an emergency episode because we are going to be discussing everything we know about the Digital Fairness Act. I'm Felix Broberg.
My name is Maciej Lančarič.
I'm Jakub Remer.
And I'm John Wright.
That's right. And
We
are your
Our
hosts. Ah, come on, guys.
doesn't work all the time.
Doesn't work. That's fine. But don't worry. Yeah. Great to have you here, John.
Thank you for coming.
Yeah, good to be
Let's
back.
discuss this. Whatever
because
this is.
unless you've been living under a rock today, there's been a lot of stuff on LinkedIn around
People
the
have
digital
jobs. I don't have time to sit on LinkedIn the whole fucking day. And you were just bombing us like, oh, have you read this? Have you read this? Like, guys, I need to work. So
That's why we're
Yeah.
doing this.
yeah,
This
I-
is work.
Exactly.
This is
This
work.
is
Okay,
work.
fair enough.
Right.
This is affecting our livelihood. This
Yeah,
could
fair
change
enough.
everything. You need to be on top of this, man.
That's true. Yeah. Of
So
course.
basically, the reason why we're here is I'm going to tee this up and I'm going to go through the proposed ideation paper, right? But the Digital Fairness Act is essentially proposed by the Consumer Protection Corporation Network in the European Union, which is basically a enforcement network of national consumer protection agencies that basically work together on an EU level. So each country has a consumer protection agency, and this is like the federated version of that. And basically their job is to protect consumers in the EU. That's what they exist for. That's their whole livelihood, right? And in March, basically, they came out with a public consultation paper, which looked exactly like this. I'm going to share screen.
Ooh.
And they have
Once again, I want
seven-
to stress this. What was the date, Felix, again?
21st of March, 2025. So it's
When-
been out for
when's
quite
that?
a while.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's been out for quite a while, right? And in this paper, they're essentially
It's
outlining...
old news.
Yeah, it's old news. But I had no idea. Did you guys know about this?
No, of course not, because nobody cares.
Okay.
So wasn't
gonna
that by
happen?
usual you lobbyist meeting?
Exactly right. And that's kind of the issue, right? So they outlined 7 principles. I'll just go through them really briefly right now, and then we can kind of talk about it. But the first principle that they want to drive through in this proposed legislation, which if approved, which is a big if, would become law in 2030, right? So the first principle that these guys want us to take, or as a gaming industry, or for anyone targeting games in the EU, the first one is that price indication should be transparent. So basically, when you're buying any in-game asset, you would have to put the real world price equivalent for gems. So if you're buying something in gems in a game, you basically also need to indicate what the price would be, right?
Yeah,
That's
can't wait to see 0.0235 of
Yeah, exactly.
pence, on my pop-up. Can't wait.
All right, here's probably the one that I think the second most I disagree with the most, right? But this one is essentially for bundling, right? So the second practice they want to decouple from games or from consumers in games is that basically you can't bundle things together. You have to sell things virtually separately, right? So no more bundling and no more welcome packs, stuff like that, right?
Special offers.
Yeah, exactly.
Bye.
Yeah, special principle number 3 is that basically...
Wait a second, man. Like, go back. As I see it, this says something different in my book.
Sorry, it's the third one. So basically, obscuring the cost. So basically, it's not showing what essentially things are worth, right? So it's mixing multiple virtual currencies in one game, right?
But like mixing multiple virtual currencies, let this sink in. That means like what? Like every single RPG is out because I need multiple currencies.
You can't have multiple currencies, right? Because that basically obscures how much something actually costs, right? And then the third.
No. Like again, read it again. It's not really just multiple currencies. It's just that multiple in-game virtual currencies in one video game because we need those. Like, just imagine how many currencies.
Let's just go through it, and then we can just discuss it, right? So then the next one, the principle 3, is the bundling part, right? So no bundling. So you have to actually show what the price is, and you can't just do things together, right? Fourth principle, you basically should have, before you buy anything, you should be given clear and comprehensible pre-contractual information. So I guess this would be your warning, like logo that would come up and basically say a scare screen. Yeah. This one, principle 5, is probably the one I agree with the most, which essentially is that in the EU, when you buy something, you have the right to return that product within 14 days. So that's a European right. And basically, they say that you should also be able to return anything you buy in the digital sphere, right? Within 14 days.
You buy a special offer, you buy something, you play for 14 days, then you get a refund, and then you do it again, and then you basically play forever for free.
No, man. Special Gacha. Just let that Gacha sink in. You didn't roll what you wanted.
Yeah.
Come on. Yeah.
And then principle 6 is that contractual terms should be fair and written in plain, clear language. So this is probably the weirdest one, because one of the things they're also suggesting here is that you as a gaming company can't modify the value of in-game virtual currency after you release the game. So basically, any changes to the economy after you release the game wouldn't be allowed, which is weird.
There goes optimization and balancing.
Just this one line is every fucking single terms of agreement of every single game that's on the market. They can do whatever they want at any point unilaterally and shut down the game at any point. That's how it's done. It's every single one.
Right. And then for the final one, which I can't wait to see Matej's reaction here, right? So basically, it's that game design and gameplay should be respectful to consumers with vulnerabilities. But let me read you this part, because it's actually crazy, because it kind of says a lot about what these legislators are actually thinking about our industry. Let me read you here. Consumers that are willing to spend an excessive amount of money on and in a video game, or so-called whales, may be considered vulnerable, since they are likely to struggle with impulse control or gambling disorders. So they're saying that essentially anyone who's spending a lot in a video game most likely is gambling addicted.
This is basically the point of view of everybody who is talking about games, that they are just gambling. It's just gambling.
I mean, Matej, you're a whale. Are you gambling addicted?
Yeah, I have disorders, but not these types of disorders. That's for sure.
So pretty much 2 days before this paper came out in March, there's also this thing that came out, which is basically the same agency that basically came out united against Star Stable, which is a Stockholm studio that's based on, how can you describe it? Jakob, you're good at describing this.
Sweden is the problem.
Sweden is the problem. You have a Swedish company. We don't talk about Sweden on this podcast. Me and Ulrich over there, representing Sweden.
Anyway, so these things together
is a very specific developer from Sweden that focuses on children's kind of horse games. Basically. It's your like My Little Pony fantasy something.
Yes, slightly different, but still it's just a horse game for kids, basically.
Yeah. And basically
for girls, maybe. Yeah.
You can even choose like a boy gender in the game.
Yeah. So getting into how legislation in the EU works, right? So there's 4 main stages to passing laws, right? So right now, what we have been in and what ends tomorrow on the 9th of October is what's known as public consultation, where essentially the suggestees, they present a couple of things. So this is one of them. What I just read out before is another position paper, which is basically evidence submissions. Then when that closes, basically starts the commission draft work, which is basically slated for late of this year to mid 2026. And that's essentially when the commission makes internal drafts and they assign a commissioner to basically drive this forward. And this is basically in lobbyism terms when you as a consumer or someone has the most influence to basically change what actually goes in it, because this is when they draft the actual proposal. So then in Q3 in 2026, that's where basically the full legislative text would be submitted and be able to be downloaded by people in the EU, right? Then in 2027, this would be debated among parliamentarians. And then that's when you've had amendments, committee reports, and voting. So this is essentially stage 3, 2, 3, and 4. It's essentially where you have a lot of influence and essentially where lobbyists get to work on basically having their insights. So that's exactly what's going on. But
Wait a second, just to finish that
Yeah.
process. It goes to Parliament voting floor and it needs to pass?
It might not pass, right? It's in
Yeah,
2027,
that's my
right?
guess.
Yeah.
Like, it still
Yeah,
might
yeah.
not pass even after all this shit.
I don't
Yeah.
know, absolutely.
Yeah, so I spoke to a lobbyist for this, and basically this is huge business, right? So he said, like, if you want to
No
fight this,
shit.
usually what happens is that you get together, you raise 1 to 2 million euros, you hire the best lobbyist, and then they fight on your behalf, right?
How do
so
you
then,
fight laws?
So it's not a law, right? It's a
Not a law yet.
proposal.
It's not a
So-
law
Yeah,
yet.
exactly. It's not the law yet.
Yeah, so what lobbyists do is basically they make papers exactly like this that argue the other side. But the lobbyists themselves can't make these position papers because that's not seen as fair, right? So usually what they do is they work with think tanks. So they go to a think tank, they pay
Hey,
them.
Ilka, hello. Can you post something for me, please, on LinkedIn? Oh, yeah, sure. You have. Oh,
No,
yeah, that would be amazing.
That basically is that it needs to be impartial. So what you do is you go to a think tank, you pay them 100,000 euros to write a position paper according to your views that then you as a lobbyist can argue in the draft proposal, right? So you go
Otherwise,
exactly. So,
Circus.
so it's essentially exactly
This
it's
is
a circus.
circus.
It's
This
circus.
I had a great time on the call finding this out, right? So now essentially is when you hire lobbyists to argue this, and basically they pay think tanks to write your positions because they're impartial, even though you pay them.
Of course, yeah.
All right.
They're so impartial. Everybody
Yeah.
gets their cut along the way, it seems.
Everybody has an agenda.
So
Yeah,
anyway,
exactly. Everyone's earning
first-
money, until the end.
So anyway, first takers here, guys. Do you want to talk about any of these principles before we
Like
kind of get into
implications?
implications, right?
Let's go one by the boxes.
Yeah,
So
one by one.
Yeah,
so
so-
first one, the cat. Let's call it the cat. Is basically the oldest trick in the free-to-play book, which is you always mask the real-world value by using like non-real-world currencies. It's like it's there, it's out there. We know it, you know it, everybody knows it. It's normal. On this basis, I can agree with it that like it's protecting the consumer and like you can do these things, of course. But the problem is that games don't work that easy in a way that you just obfuscate it and suddenly you know like the value of every single item, thing, whatever you put hard currency on. It changes, for instance. You have inflationary economies, like even Clash Royale has an inflationary economy. The value of gold changes within the game during your progression because you have more gold being given to you on Arena 10 compared to Arena 2 or whatever. Therefore, you in the shop, amounts change, everything changes. So yeah, you can do these things, like that's nice of you, but I can imagine the amount of bureaucracy being added into just the game designers, whatever. There literally would need to be a company that has some kind of SDK in to can just do this, basically.
Basically, what would happen here, I guess what you're saying is that the rich companies that have enough money to do this would remain in the EU, and the other ones would simply just not target the European Union people, right?
Yeah, it's additional work. It's like a lot of additional work to just
This is
kinda-
also like what I think will happen, Felix. I actually think that the TAM of Europe will go down because people won't target or do UA in European Union because they're not willing to do the extra work, or they want to limit it. So all that happens is budgets increase in the US, Turkey, China, etc., and it's us in the EU that basically just lose.
And people do decisions based on even much less intrusive stuff. Like I remember when I was in Japan before Corona, I was talking to some local producers, and they literally told me like, "Oh, we don't want to go to EU because GDPR." Like, really? That's your main hurdle?
Well, now I have a game in soft launch which also has the same problem. Like, oh, we kind of postponed EU because of the GDPR stuff, and then we soft launched the game
And
elsewhere.
GDPR is really kind of easy,
Exactly.
compared to this.
Yeah, exactly. But it's another hurdle, right? It's a thing that people have to get their head round, have to learn about, and and it costs money, and sometimes things are not worth the effort, right? Or they don't think they're worth the effort.
Yeah. So here's the second principle, right? So obscuring the cost of in-game digital content and services should be avoided, right? So it's basically the practices they're outlining here. And the second one, offering for purchase and mixing different in-game virtual currencies in one video game should be banned. So I guess this is them saying that you need one currency, maybe the euro. I don't know.
But
Like,
free-to-play economies just don't work with one currency.
Yeah,
Period.
exactly.
It's just like impossible. You need multiple currencies in order to be able to kind of create different circuits of economy and progression that needs to be independent of each other. Otherwise, like economy crumbles, basically.
So I guess like what are they saying? That casinos are okay, but then games, I guess, like
Because
Which is,
casinos just use money, which is like
yeah,
money.
it's
is
just fine.
everything.
It's okay.
Money's okay for blackjack and for roulette.
Basically.
Yeah, I guess this one is the weirdest. Principle 3, right? Where basically they say that force customers to purchase unwanted in-game virtual currency should be avoided. So this is the bundling one, right?
Who's forcing anyone to buy stuff? I mean, come on.
I think what the guy who was designing it meant that he would literally want to type like, I want to buy 38 gems, and it would give him a price. Like imagine like a grocery store, like he goes and like give me my tomatoes. Like I just want 3 of them.
Why wouldn't this work? Just steel manning it, Jakub?
It can work, but we get to the decimal thing, whatever. And the worst part is that all of these things that you see here, like, from the game designer standpoint, why you do these bundles is because you create anchor. You create an anchor so people can derive value from it. When an offer comes in, then the offer is a bargain compared to these prices, which creates the value of the offer. And then the discount makes the bargain itself, basically. So, yeah, it's pretty hard to kind of go against this philosophy in the current setup.
But that's
Supermarkets do this all the time. They jack up prices and then like, oh, there's a discount, even though the price was the same 2 weeks ago.
Yeah. Just make it happen.
Exactly. So
yeah, I guess.
Felix, go please Control F or like search and see if there's any mention of the word loot box, because I'm kind of super surprised that there's no mention of this, because I would have thought that like this whole principle, if you scroll up a little bit and like what it says there, that then I should spoof them out. But I think it was even more like unwanted something, items or something. That's basically definition of loot box or gacha.
I have a theory on this, because there was legislation a couple of years ago in the EU that got voted down against loot boxes. So I have a feeling they're avoiding that, but basically they're using other words, right?
But this is even worse to some degree. Like some of the points that they're like putting into the law here are even worse.
Is it worse for the consumer, would you say, or is it worse for game developers?
Come on, you can look at it from the consumer point
I guess
of view
we
as
can
well.
go to the like very high level implication later, which what this would do in context of like reality check of like different markets, different developers outside of EU power of development and stuff like that. Like,
well, you can just go
that for
to
later.
it now. No. We always say let's do it later. We never do it
Okay,
later.
let's do it
so
now.
let's just go here. It's like that's
imagine that like for a consumer it's shit, because as John mentioned, like some people just will not consider this worth the efforts, as essentially you have less games for your access, because like nobody cares now about this like store bloated with regulation that I need to first cut through in order to release the game even on the market. Yeah, bye. Like my game just won't go there. Great consumer protection, you were protected from the whole game. That's number one. Number two, the enforceability of this will be very questionable. Like how do you enforce this, and like how this whole thing will kind of look like in practical terms, which means that like we have still the giant problem and like elephant in the room that is called fake ads that nobody cares about, and like that's been running amok all like last I don't know how many years. That's okay, but this unacceptable. So
also plus like I've been to a supermarket and sometimes basically like shampoo and conditioner, they bundle it together and it's cheaper. Like why is it okay in a supermarket and not in a game?
Behavioral economy practices that's been there out there from like I don't know 70s or something.
Yeah,
it's
buy
like
one get one free.
It's normal commerce.
Yeah, and I guess also I want to add to your point, Jakub, that like eventually, like if there's less games being played in the EU, that's also less jobs eventually for people working in the EU in the gaming sector, right?
Of course, like doesn't make sense. But as I said, like this just gives more power to the outside competitor countries, pretty much like US developers, Asian developers. They just won't care about this. We just got our own market kind of shut down away from us, so we'll be just forced to go to their market. Our market, like, will be just sitting doing nothing, pretty much.
Yeah, this is my major concern, guys, is the ramifications. Like, people will stop investing into spending money into Europe. European consumers will get less content and less games. Job market in Europe for for gaming companies will subside, and we'll lose X thousand positions out of the 100,000 we have currently within Europe, and then everyone's just trying to fight their way out of the EU and trying to go to greener pastures, right? We've got teams being airlifted to US or Southeast Asia or China, and the only one who loses is the Europeans, and also the consumers themselves, because they won't be able to play the games they want. And then what do? VPN into other countries to get access to the games and IP that they want, and then it's
like I think like we don't really need to go far to kind of see the ramifications of this. Like you've seen what happened in China, where like these very massive time constraint regulations were put in, which means that it's driving their developers to go out and expand into outside market, outside of China, which just like makes the life harder for us. So this would be basically kind of similar setup where like everybody from Europe would still continue making games, but they wouldn't just be focusing on EU markets anymore. They would be still focusing on US, whatever, Asia, and like wherever they can kind of get their kind of market share much easier than this, basically.
Yeah, how much money do you actually can get from EU markets in comparison to US or Asia?
Yeah, we can check and like see like how like some of the games do. Yeah.
I mean, of course, it's not.
Mobile games are not made for like EU. They are made for like either West or East. That's the usual denominator.
But still, you're still talking about 20-25% of 100 million TAM of mobile as part of a 190 TAM of gaming, right? So you're still talking 20-25 billion, I guess, of potential loss.
I guess there's only going to be ad monetized games then in the EU.
There you go.
Felix is celebrating right now.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
All right. Okay, this one. Provided with clear and comprehensible pre-contractual information. This is the warning screens, right? Warning you're about to make a purchase. Yeah.
I mean, seriously, I was reading some of these like notes from also Mr. John Wright here. Is labeled as catastrophic. This is catastrophic for the industry. Like, come on, guys, like chill the fuck out. Also, like this is another IDFA moment in the industry. Baby, what happened? Yeah. Are we here? Yes. What changed? Literally almost nothing. iOS. Come on.
What are you talking about? Like the CAGR of the industry is dramatically lower than what it was pre-ATT. Our trajectory as an industry is nowhere close to what it should have been.
Ad monetization is like not a thing.
Things. Please don't
temporarily, maybe. I mean, come on.
Oh man, the power shifted. That's the thing. Power shifted. If you cannot do your, fake ads, fake onboarding game, fake thing funnel, you just price out of the market, which means, again, Asia going here and doing what they want, and we can do shit because people are just not capable of pulling that thing off.
Exactly. So, but whose problem is it? Is it because of it? No, because people are not capable of doing things and adapting, which is their problem. That's it.
I know, but at some point, like especially with these giant super states, kind of economy problems kicks in.
All right. Do we want to talk about the last like two ones as well, or do you want to talk about Ilka's position paper? Or
like, those are super important.
Yeah.
Which one was the previous one? Go up.
This basically right of withdrawal. So after 14 days, you have the right to get your money back.
My favorite.
Yes.
The endless roll of gacha.
Yes, exactly. Until I'm satisfied with what I get.
I'm seeing this as something different. I'm seeing this as right. If I bought some currency and I held it for 14 days and I didn't use it, then I can get a return, right? Which I think is active in most sort of bigger IAP games anyway.
Of course, you bought the currency. It's called scrolls, or it's called keys, or whatever it is called, man, that you use and throw into the gacha. I want it back. So what now?
Yeah, okay, look, Gacha makes this much more complicated. For my thing, it's just buying
Gacha
currency.
won't work with
that
this.
currency, I can return it, right? Same as taking back something to the shop.
Gacha just won't work with this, period. Goodbye. It just won't work at all. So I don't see how the current market, which is, I think, I would guess top 100 is like 70% having gacha-based mechanics. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. Principle 6, contractual terms should be written in fair and plain language. So this is the one that really got me going, because basically the changing, like you can't change your virtual currency after, right? Explain why this is, right? And why you need to be able to rebalance your economy as the game is basically released.
I don't get this like kind of aiming with this. Like it means that like if I spend money with it, it's considered to be like consumer goods, like something as similar to consumer goods that's like, on the real world market. Like that's what they're saying here. Like, does it also mean that they're forcing you to kind of keep up the game in its original state forever? Like it just doesn't work at all.
I guess this would be like, hey, if I put it in a real world example, if you're a supermarket, you're not allowed to change the prices of the goods inside the store.
During
Forever.
the day.
Yeah, during the day, I
Forever.
guess. Like,
Like
yeah.
from the point you put it on the shelf for the first time, then it's price fixed for the forever.
But you can change the prices. Like, every single month inflation kicks in, prices go up. So there's a little bit of nuance I think we're missing here. But still, just the terms of agreement of every single gaming company, if you like go into the game, it always starts with like, we have the right to do whatever we want with the game, with its currencies, with the thing that you buy, with everything. Like it's just every single terms of service is there. So nobody's buying like a chunk of land or something that's like protected by whatever EU laws. Like I don't know. Like this seems like out of touch completely, like with the reality of like how software development even works.
Yeah, and the final one here, right, which assumes that everyone who spends a lot or a whale, they're all gambling addicted and have no impulse control. John, how much did you spend on IAPs last year? Like, come on, like,
I reckon I've spent personally, I don't know, £500 to £600 on in-app purchases in games that I like.
Yeah, just the Pokemon cards.
No, just Pokemon. I reckon I've spent £600 in Pokemon trading cards. Oh, yeah, cool. As soon as something drops, I'll sit there and spend. But I have the disposable income to do so. It does not affect my life in any way. And the fact is, once I've got what I wanted, I don't go back. Like it's not like
you're wrong because you're a gambling addict. So you're wrong.
No, I mean, no,
but
I'm not.
Like this is the whole point. Like it's just like because somebody said so. It's like who's saving the poor ladies from their overpriced Louis Vuitton bags? Who's saving them?
Yeah, look, I just don't get it, man. I don't see why like a persona, like a whale, dolphin, minnow, salmon, all these sort of terms that we've been using for decades, right? Not just in gaming, but in other types of industry. I don't know why now people are seeing this as like, oh, this is something super bad. Like this is, oh my god, there's a whale. Like again, we're abusing them. Like no, it's their choice as a person, as an adult. I don't believe we'll talk about the children part of this stuff later, which is a big part of it.
Well, it comes right now, right?
If you're an adult and you choose to buy something, it doesn't matter if it's an in-app purchase in a game or it's buying a pair of sneakers in Foot Locker, or it's going to a restaurant and spending too much on a meal. You are controlling your own decisions by choosing how you spend your money.
Nobody's saving you for excessive alcohol spending or cigarette spending or whatever vice you currently have on the menu.
Yeah. So here comes the kids part, right? And what's really popular when I spoke to this lobbyist, when I prepared for this podcast, right, is that usually when you propose something in the EU, the thing you need to do for your bill or your suggestion, right, or your act, is that you need to have a name that no one can disagree with. So Digital Fairness Act, right? Who can disagree with fairness? Then also what you start to do is you have your positions, right? And then you bundle it in with other things. So like I said right now, we're in the stage right now where it's evidence submission. So these are the principles, but it'll also be baked in with this one that came out 2 days before, right? From the same group, which is basically to protect children, right? So these things like, yeah, children should be protected. And this is the way to do it, right? And then it's very hard to disagree with it because you can't be against the Digital Fairness Act because it's fair and it's protecting kids. So if you're against this act, you're against kids.
Sounds like Federal Reserve Bank.
Yeah. The thing for me is like, I mean, look, we've got three fathers on here.
Yeah.
Right. And I think all of us have got an opinion about like, how we, introduce our kids to games, right? And my kids play games. They've got a Switch. They've got their iPads. But do they have access to the internet? No. Like
really? Yeah.
You'd have to go through like an approval process with me. None of the games on my kids' iPads have shops or economy. You can't even do purchases because it's disabled. So like
because it's a kid's game.
Because it's a kid's game, exactly. It's a kid's game. So all of this stuff is prevented. And all we're doing is saying here, right, what we're going to do is we're going to negatively impact, the entire audience of a game on the basis that some kids are playing this on their parents' phones, right? And I don't know, man. I just feel like we should need to be better parents and like give better education onto like digital safety. And this should be much more of something in the school system or something we control as the parents. I don't know. I don't think just like blanking brushing this stuff as it's protecting kids is the right.
What happened is with Star Stable case, some parents failed at parenting, and now we're fucking suffering, all of us. That's what's happening. That's what's happening.
Honestly, I don't have any.
I didn't say it. I was being diplomatic. You said.
I don't have any problems with the kid stuff, like putting all the kid stuff that you want. But the problem is that the majority of the spend that we're talking here and this
it's not kids
targeting, it's adults. It's like adults, and like kids are kids, and kids are kids because they don't have money. They're kids. Like,
and they don't understand like where they're just tapping everything. I don't think that these like they're just
completely normal, and like that's definitely like I'm all for it. Like should be preventable. There should 100%. Be like have parental controls in the game, have like ease of access. All these, that's like I don't have any problem with that. The problem is that the legislation never talks about kids and adults as a separate categories or some.
It's one bundle.
It's like one
they're
bundle.
Bundling it. They shouldn't
by
bundle
the way,
it.
Everybody is an addict
they shouldn't
or
bundle
kid.
Yeah, exactly. What percentage of people are addicts and kids in this thing? That's what I want them to see, some numbers. Like what percentage of gamers are they saying are addicts? Like, are all my friends crackheads? Is that like
Not
what they're saying?
But gambling addicted, right? I don't know. Maybe someone can like ask ChatGPT for some numbers, but like honestly, it's not going to be 100%, right?
Yeah. That's the piece of evidence we want, and that's if ChatGPT said it, it's true.
ChatGPT is just one level behind. Trust me, bro.
No. Just use deep research. Just do, and therefore it's fine. That's it.
Anyway.
That's the only.
I think, do we want to take this a step further and also talk about Ilka's letter, or do we just want to end it here? Because I think we kind of talked it.
We can talk a little bit.
Do you have it? I don't have it up here in front of me. Does anyone have it?
I have it. Give me.
Perfect.
Give me.
Again, this app, everybody has an agenda.
Yeah, everybody has an agenda. Yeah, so for those who don't know why, like the link is very on fire, because there's this giant post by Ilka that got like 2,560 likes and 200
reposts. And
I'm guessing those like approaching 300,000
Can you scroll
impressions.
down a little bit? Maybe you'll find one interesting comment. Oh, fuck. Yeah, here, yes. This is it. This is
wait, 1 second. Scroll down there. I just wanted to show that picture. Please click on that picture above Mate's, which is the one that shows you what the UI will look like. Because it's my favorite.
Another meme?
Up.
Here,
this one. This is what people are going to see basically when you're trying to do a transaction. Fantastic, like.
I mean, come on, this is a big stretch. This is a big stretch, and you can design it in a way different way. But
I don't think so. It's big stretch. It's just like it will go one by one. It won't be three pop-ups in one screen. It will like consecutively one after each other.
Free opportunities for people to bounce. Free square screens. But yeah, I don't know. Like, the fact that there will be a pop-up every time is just furious.
I just want the EU to make all our games because they're going to be great and fun and force us all to play them, and then we'll all be safe as well, right? So yeah.
Yeah, safe to not play games. That's it. Yeah. You just won't have any. I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to start playing tic-tac-toe. With my kids.
Anyway, do you want to scroll up and read the letter?
Let's go back to the because it's never going to end.
So there's this kind of Ilka's credentials and like what he's doing and what he's saying. There's even Video Games European Game Developer Association or Game Developer Federation quoted, which is again.
So these are the lobbyism group that would fight this, right? So basically,
those are like our guys fighting, like our lobbyists.
Yes, our lobbyists.
So that's there. So if we go in, there's this 3-page document, pretty heavy one, I would say, where the interesting part is that it never even kind of like quotes the thing that we just went through,
exactly.
Like the PDF, like the EU Commission one.
Which is why we wanted to do this episode, because there's so much conversation, not about the core.
what's actually being told here, because it's more of a like already done from the perspective that's like Europe's gonna kill another industry. I don't think so. This is gonna kill it. Honestly, just gonna put the giant, as we said, bureaucracy dent. Everybody loses, so everything goes down, but it still lives. I think
another IDFA moment.
Yeah, the premium people are basically just laughing all the way today at
Go
us.
To
basically.
The comments, like it's everything is there. Everything is there. There's gold. Literally,
because
people
doesn't affect premium games at
At all.
at all,
Yeah.
basically. So anything
It's
you're
free to
doing,
play.
if you're doing premium games, or even most, I guess, PC games, like they don't really care about. This is just like 99%
It's free
targeted
to,
towards
it's free to
mobile.
play. Yeah.
It's free
More
to
free
play.
to play.
But remember also, the purists out there are the ones who are saying that free to play is a cesspit. You know,
It's
like
cancer. It's cancer.
Of course,
Free to
like
play
the,
is
the worst
yeah.
worst things since
Yeah,
Satan.
yeah.
So
we are
yeah.
literally forget about all the accessibility to games and giving people the
No,
ability to play
It doesn't
something
matter.
that
Yeah,
Doesn't
some
matter.
people
Doesn't
would
matter.
never be able to do without it being free to play. Forget all
Doesn't
of
matter.
that. You know?
Doesn't
Yeah,
matter.
yeah. So yeah, it goes into like a startup ecosystem and stuff like that. So just the first sentence, like putting Clash of Clans, Candy Crush, Minecraft, and The Witcher in
Yeah.
one sentence isn't
Doesn't
really
make sense.
like equal
Doesn't make
footing
sense.
here.
Yeah.
Because like Witcher won't be affected by this at all, ever, never. So Minecraft
No, but
probably also.
if the economy of games in Europe is affected, then certain studios might opt to relocate or move.
Yeah,
or
they'll do that.
and then that Witcher wouldn't be European. Because
But again, the question is like,
local economy wouldn't be
do you even need to move? Like, if you mean from the first place, games aren't, as I said, games aren't made for European people. Like, this is not like physical goods. Like, you made them for the whole, as I said, the Western market and then the Asian market or China specifically, because they have lots of regulation to kind of go into their market. But that's there. But yeah, let's continue the case here. So he goes into all of these things. Then there's this like theme park analogy where he says that instead of buying tokens in a theme park once and then like using them all around, you need to go and approve, verify, and like, call your D2C partner and pretty much do whatever you need to do, doing every single attraction buy-in where you can go in. Which adds a lot of friction stuff. That's if you saw that like triple scare screen combo, like that's completely verified. If I think it works like it works, and then there's just some statistics, like there's lots of us and like blah 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 blah, yada 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 yada, and like it's not really good to kind of go forward with this. And then at the parenting issue, like it's basically this like last paragraph where it says like 18% of families where children are allowed to make purchases of in-game content have parental supervision. So it means like people are responsible to begin with. Don't make idiots out of us. And then like please include genuine industry engagement, I guess, because I don't know, like this is the part I'm kind of confused because it was out from March, and I'm guessing that people like Supercell knew about this much sooner than we did because they have their.
So the call I had with the lobbyist that explained this to me, right? And he also said that it's kind of funny you're calling the day before it closes because essentially the public consultation is where you can actually put in evidence that then the commission uses in the draft on the impact assessments, right? So basically the only way to fight it now is for us to get lobbyists, or if you want to basically fight it, you have to get lobbyists. So now it's a bit too late. So yeah, I guess I have no idea. I've never heard of this before today.
Yeah, and that's the question here. Like, if you could fight it before, why not talk about it in March? If this paper was dated in March, I'm kind of missing the point here.
Advertising this, are they? Like, it's not like the politicians or the people on the other side are actually sharing this information publicly.
Yeah, like how do you find it? They're like, go to the EU's website, click through the horrible website, and then you'll find stuff that they're suggesting, and you're like, what? Like, yeah.
You're not doing that as like a daily news. Like you go there, refresh. It's there.
This is the best part because they literally have Felix embedded in it. They're also forcing video game companies that rely on optional purchases of in-game content to look at other business models like advertising-based revenues, which we know undermines the user experience.
Like, what the actual fuck?
Because Supercell cannot monetize with ads.
I mean, they're doing well on Heyday, no? Yeah. So come on.
Do they need to? That's the thing. Do they need to?
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, they don't need to, but they are doing it still in one game at least.
Yeah.
Like, why would you put something like this there? Because everybody has an agenda. Okay. Anyway.
Yeah. I guess we can probably finish there unless anyone else wants to say anything about it. Essentially, if I'll leave a link in the show notes here, or Mathieu will, but I'll send it to him and he'll put it in. And essentially, you can go read these documents yourself. We kind of just thought there was a lot of things flying around today and not that much like from the actual stuff
context
that's been proposed. Yeah. So we just wanted to set the record straight. But obviously, personally, I don't agree with many of these points. The only thing that can be done now is basically to federate and get our own lobbyist if you wanted to fight this. And essentially, the only thing you can do is find the parliamentarian or the commissioner who's going to drive it and email them. But yeah, it's not going to be that effective.
And look, it's not going to come into play, even if it does get all voted in for a couple of years anyway. So by that time, the industry could move on and we could find better solutions.
And this is,
You get a job at Taco Bell.
Very good
Four
point.
of us
Like,
together.
we're still talking like the
2030.
expected
2030.
2030, yeah.
Yes, 5 years from now.
Yeah.
Which is not going to happen.
5 years from now, we could be, so far away from the whole free-to-play model, not so far away from mobile phones even that, like...
What do you mean? In 5 years, super intelligence is going to be a thing.
Exactly.
Skynet's coming, baby. Don't worry.
Yeah.
Like, we're having this conversation now, but we don't know what's around the corner. Jesus, like, who knows?
Yeah.
All right, this has been another fantastic episode of the 2.5 Gamers podcast with a special guest, John Wright, who came on to talk to us. Thank you so much for joining. If you want to talk to us or have any questions, we're in our Slack group. It's right below. You can join it as well. And thank you all for joining us. Have a great weekend. Oh, have a great week. Bye-bye.
Weekend? Oh, weekend as well, maybe.
Yeah.
See you next time.
It works.
See ya.
Who knows?
Thanks, guys.
See you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.